Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while that I uploaded something, but this has to be something that I really wanted to share with you guys, which was the highlights, the best books that I read in the year 2024. So I read about 24 books. I usually end up doing a lot more on Goodreads, like putting a goal of 50 books, but I don't end up finishing those. So 24 happens to be one of the numbers that I have hit in a very long time in terms of the total number of books I read in 2024. Now, without much ado, I'm going to jump right in and give you my recommendations of the best books I read in 2024. So, the first book is The Twisted Ones. When a young woman clears out her deceased grandmother's home in North Carolina, she finds long hidden secrets about a strange colony of beings in the woods. This book is an out and out horror. It is full of adventure. The protagonist, Mouse, is there in her grandmother's house, who is now deceased, on the request of her father to clean out the entire place, and so that the family can put it up for sale. Essentially, there's this mouse and her father, but her father kind of is reluctant to go back to the house. Now, my mouse doesn't know why, and she agrees to do this just for her dad. She goes there and finds out that her grandmother is a huge hoarder, and she needs really a lot of time to just get rid of all the things that she's hoarded. So obviously, she ends up staying there. On the first few nights, everything is quite normal. After that, she starts finding strange things and strange beings in the corner of the woods, and she can see the tree line that the forest starts from. So that time she sees a lot of weird things happening through her window initially, and after a point things start getting quite creepy. Now, this is not a spoiler, but there's a scene in the book that she and her pet dog are just out for a walk and exploration, and somehow they end up in a place that they don't belong, and a place that nobody belongs. So that was a rather scary experience. If you like those no sleep posts, which are stairs in the woods, or any creepy stories that are to do with forests, this is absolutely the book for you. The writing is simple. You try to get, like, for me, getting into the first few chapters of the book was kind of slow, but once it picked up pace, it was phenomenal. I think this will remain one of my favorite books for a very long time. The second book on this list is Dating Dr. Dil by Nisha Sharma. This is a romance book, and I wish I would have read it sooner, because it seems like it matches my standards of romance. Dating Dr. Dil is a part of a series called If Shakespeare Was an Auntie, and this particular book, Dating Dr. Dil, is an adaptation of Taming of the Shrew. There is the protagonist Prem, and there is Karina. Now, Prem runs a podcast where he talks about how love is not a real thing, but only a chemical reaction in your brain and stuff like that. He's a complete cynic when it comes to love. Karina, on the other hand, is completely opposite. She wears rose tinted glasses. She believes in romance. She believes in grand gestures. She believes in those cute little moments that one finds when they're in love. Sparks fly when the two of these meet. Immediately both of them are attracted to each other, but it starts off on the wrong note. So it's slightly enemies to lovers, so enemies to friends to lovers. It's a trope like that. Nisha Sharma has done a wonderful job representing the NRI community. I'm not an NRI, but I do have a lot of friends who are, and finding love is something that is very difficult for for the people who live, for the Indians who live abroad, for any South Asians who live abroad, I feel. But talking about Indians, parents want their kids to marry someone from their community, which is something that is a challenge for a lot of youth. So that is portrayed beautifully in here, how Karina ends up meeting a lot of creepy men in her search for the right man, Mr. Right, and in that journey, Prem becomes a part of her life, and it becomes one of those funny, cutesy, overall just a lot of joyful moments. Also, the smut is fantastic. If you're a fan of smut, please pick this up. So yes, Dating Dr. Dil is definitely on my recommendation list. The third book in this list is Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I can go on and on raving about Neil Gaiman, and I'm a huge fan. I wish I read this book sooner. I don't know why. I was just waiting for something special to happen and then read this book. But it's adventurous. It's scary. It's one of those books that has children as main characters, but is written for adults. I'll just quickly read out in the synopsis. A middle-aged man returns to his childhood home to attend a funeral. Although the house he lived in is long gone, he is drawn to the farm at the end of the road, where, when he was 7, he encountered the most remarkable girl, Letty Hemstock, and her mother and her grandmother. He hasn't thought of Letty in decades, and yet, as he sits by the pond, a pond that she claimed was an ocean, hence the name of the book, behind the ramshackle old farmhouse, the unremembered past comes flooding back, and it is a past too strange, too frightening, too dangerous to have happened to anyone, let alone a small boy. This book is written again in quite a simple manner. It really sucks you into its world. Despite being a fantastical book, it kind of does feel real because of Neil Gaiman's writing. And I feel like the protagonist had a lot of things to unpack when he from his childhood, when he reached his childhood home, and then he meets in the book he meets Letty Hemstock's mother later, and her grandmother, and there's this entire story about what adventure they went on when they were kids. Again, this has the mention of woods in it. There's a forest, there's a farm essentially, and a little bit of the forest, but there's a lot of natural elements, and it is quite scary in parts. So you should definitely pick this up if you're a fan of horror and fantasy. So yes, Ocean at the End of the Lane is a definite recommendation. So the next book on my list is Sphere by Michael Crichton, again one of my favorite authors. This is a book that sci-fi lovers will absolutely adore, but also I like underwater dramas. I don't know if they're called that, but these nautical themed books with ocean as one of the characters in the book. I remember Into the Drowning Deep was also one of my favorite because it had dealt with mermaids, so there was fantasy and sci-fi mixed in that. Sphere is very different in that sense. It plays with your mind, and it plays with the minds of the characters. Sphere is about a bunch of scientists and a psychologist, who is the main protagonist, going really deep into the water to explore a UFO that has been there for about 300 years, and nobody knows how it got there. So some are predicting in the book that it has come from the future to the past. Some are predicting that it's an alien. It's something entirely alien, and inside that UFO they find a sphere. Now the entire mystery, and hence the name of the book, so the entire mystery lies around the sphere. The writing is sometimes there are these scientific theories and these technical things that you may have to read twice to understand, but apart from that, I think it's a wonderful book. It is Michael Crichton creation, so it has to be perfection. I love the ending of the book. Obviously I'm not going to spoil it for you. I love the ending of the book, but yes, it does keep you gripped the entire time. The next book on this list is Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is a part of a series, Once Upon a Broken Heart. There are 3 books in the series. I ended up reading all 3. Now, if you've read something like ACOTAR or Throne of Glass, this may feel like something that you've already read, but I really loved some elements in the book. There's the girl Evangeline Fox who was raised in her father's shop, where she grew up on legends about immortals like the tragic Prince of Hearts, not Broken Hearts. I'm sorry. She knows his powers are mythic, his case is worth dying for, and that bargains with him rarely end well. Okay, Evangeline Fox goes to Prince of Hearts, obviously, and she asks for something in return and bargains with him. What happens after that is like a lot of twists and turns in the plots, which I love. There are a lot of unexpected things and a lot of unexpected fantastical beings also that make an appearance in this book. So definitely you should read this one, especially if you're a fan of fantasy. Don't feel like, okay, if you've already read ACOTAR and you might feel this is similar. It's not similar, it's just it's hardcore fantasy, so certain elements might feel familiar, but apart from that it's totally original. It's by Stephanie Garber. I'm yet to read Caraval by her, so after this I really feel like I should be reading Caraval. The next book is the most awaited book of its time, and the marketing was crazy. The Fourth Wing, I'm gonna talk about how awesome it was. Okay, I love dragons, so obviously I had to pick this one up. It's very adventurous. I mean, people have already read it, so I don't want to give the plot away. You can just check the plot online. I will quickly tell you about how I found the book. The writing was quite engaging. It kept me like it sucked me into the universe very fast. I love the concept of how dragons are in sync with their riders. I love the whole academic feel, the academic nature of the school that is a part of the book. Also, I feel like it plays a very integral part as a character in the book. So there is chemistry between the protagonists. There is some spice. There's not a lot of spice. I like the fact that the author took the liberty of taking a lot of these legends and mixing them into the book into one universe. And yeah, Fourth Wing, is it worth the hype? I would say so, yes. Definitely, Fourth Wing is something that I would recommend to everyone. The last but not the least on this list is Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Wire, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yes, Hail Mary is the name of the book. There's a soul survivor on a ship that is lost in space, and now this particular astronaut has to figure out their way back to Earth. The protagonist doesn't know where they are and where they are heading, but after a lot of digging and researching into the ship, there's like, okay, I'm alone in here and I don't know how to get out of this situation. What happens is Ryland finds out that he's not alone in this journey, and he meets someone who is not of the world that he knows of. This book has a lot of witty banter with himself, but this also shows how one person can be so resilient and so compassionate in the same this book shows how a protagonist can be. This book shows how a person can be so compassionate towards themselves and such genius work. I don't want to give out spoilers without, but this book is so refreshing. It has such amazing things happening inside it. Now there are some technical details that I had to read twice, like there were these scientific and mathematical theories in it that I had to go over twice, but even then I enjoyed reading this book. There was so much of curiosity and so much of anxiety that how this person got here, and where are they going next, and on the journey he finds things that are so unexpected and that are potentially a threat to Earth. That is what he was researching in the first place. That's what he finds out. And by the way, he's alone in the ship, but he's not alone in the ship. It's something like that. It's not scary. The scary part is the loneliness, of course. So yes, trigger warning is that death is mentioned in the book. But apart from that, I feel it's a very enjoyable book. If I talk more about it, I'll end up spoiling for you. But this is a book that you definitely should read. I saved it for the last because, well, best for the last. So Hail Mary is. Alright guys, that was all for this video. Let's meet in the next one. Please let me know in the comments what books you read in 2024 and I would love to read them. And yes, let me know how you found the video. Alright, adios.